Hello, and welcome to Management 403, Global Supply Chain Operations, Greening Your Business. For the first week, what we're going to do is talk about three key learning outcomes for this first section. One, we're going to examine the introductory concepts of green supply chain management and define it. Second, we're going to discuss how more companies are emerging towards green supply chain management principles and talk about the benefits they see with transforming themselves into a green supply chain and sustainable focused company. And then third, we're going to discuss how sustainable supply chains impact the overall global market. But before we talk about green supply chain, let's talk about supply chain itself at its core. Now, a key definition of supply chain is that a supply chain is the management of a network which is used to deliver goods and services or products and services from raw material to the customers through physical distribution, flow of information, and cash. Think about yourself as a consumer. We all buy products all the time. Well, every product is an end result of a beginning process that starts with raw materials. Raw materials are the materials used to make that product, and that starts with sourcing. In a future week, we'll talk a lot about sourcing and ethical sourcing. But sourcing is where companies go out and try to find that raw material from suppliers all over the world at the best cost, and at times they're really also focused on the best quality. There's a lot of negotiations involved. That's where cash comes in. The first element of the cost of goods, if you will, is done at the raw materials negotiation. So in this diagram you see in the blue, supplier tiers. There's different supplier tiers depending on relationships, how many raw materials you get from a certain supplier, things of that nature. Then there's usually an intermediary that comes in and gathers all those raw materials to then take to a manufacturer. At the manufacturer, you can call it a production plant, a facility, and just wherever you want to call it, a manufacturing facility where the product is actually made. This is where all the nuts and bolts of the product is put together. It's created, it's designed, and it's put together in a manner that also tests quality control to ensure the product is ready for market. After that, it's then sent out into distribution channels. Distribution could be anywhere from going to a warehouse, then from that warehouse to the end user, if it's shopped online or bought online and shipped online. It could be a retail store where it's distributed from a warehouse to a retail store, or it could go direct to a consumer from the actual distribution center or company. It just depends, but distribution in general means the transit, the shipment from manufacturer to either, again, a distribution center to the end user, or sometimes directly to an end user. It just depends. And distribution could be air, which is airplane. It could be by ship. It could be by truck. And there's a lot of transportation logistics involved in that element. So it's really a value chain from beginning to end, A to Z. So when you get your product that you're purchasing, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that take a very detailed process, a detailed overview of supply chain to get it done. But what is green supply chain management? Well, green supply chain management has been emerging over the last several years because of more focus on the planet and in the environment and sustainability for the communities that we live in. Okay, so there's all types of ways to define green supply chain management, but BPIR.com states, and this is a very good definition, green supply chain management, or you'll also see the acronym GSCM, aims to integrate environmental thinking into supply chain management. This includes everything like I talked about before, from the design of the product to gathering the raw materials or sourcing those materials, to that selection of raw materials, the manufacturing or production process, all the way to the final product to consumers, and even end-of-life product management, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So at the end of the day, it's the key focus of thinking about the environment and sustainability with your supply chain practices. Where that takes you next is other factors to consider for companies that want to go more green in their supply chain management. There's various things going on in the market today that we have to be aware of. First, logistics and procurement have become more strategic. Procurement is the buying or the purchasing or sourcing of raw materials. Logistics is also very strategic in that companies are looking very focused to see where can they streamline operations, where can they streamline processes to save money on expenses for cost, but also to provide the same quality, if not better quality, of products in a more timely fashion to consumers. Organizations outsourcing, forming partnerships and alliances. You'll see a lot more major companies merging together now, coming together to, on the back end is what we call it, operate and provide similar types of operational processes for major companies. You're also seeing a lot of partnerships when it comes to large corporations who need to acquire or merge and acquire different brands to fill out a product portfolio. So with that said comes their supplier base. So you'll see that a lot especially in retail these days, where a lot of mergers and acquisitions happen, or brands coming together with parent companies owning smaller brands, and they benefit from that from a more streamlined operation and more sustainable operational method. And part of that is green supply chain management. The product environment becoming more complex. You're seeing way more, because of the emergence of online shopping, more and more businesses are able to sell their products online and also offer differentiated and substituted products for the end consumer. What that means is, as a consumer, let's take electronics, for example, and headphones. In my career, I have seen so many types of brands, of name brand to generic brand to what we call OEM, or just kind of random branded headphones that are out there. And that's because you see that, a lot of private equity companies or just private label companies can go out, purchase similar raw material, and sell products at a much lower price than those name brand headphones, for example. And the headphones may not be that much different, just the name and the brand. That's what's happening too. But in that is integrity of the quality of the product, and is ensuring that they're following environmental procedures with producing that product. And that's where it is important for companies, especially large name brand companies, to focus on the green supply chain, because with the emergence of competition, they still have to compete to ensure they're providing good quality products. Managing suppliers and customer relationships is very key. Suppliers have a lot of good negotiation power these days. They know that they can supply, just like I said in that headphones example, the same raw materials to 10 different companies and negotiate costs and provide the best possible raw material, but also cater to the best contract that they can get for the cost. So there's a lot of negotiation that's involved, and so those relationships are very key to have, and those business relationships and supply chain are also very key to be competitive. And the competition is shifting from company to company to supply chain versus supply chain. Again, companies on the front end to the consumer are competing, absolutely, for your attention with marketing, to with your attention for price and the promotion. But on the back end, companies are competing more on the supply chain, because that's where profitability comes in. So sustainability in a company is also about the profit they can generate and the long-term sustainable decisions that they can make from a supply chain perspective to become more profitable. So you look at your supply chain and focus on green supply chain methods to save money in your operations. So why do this in general? Why focus on green supply chain? Well, I mentioned a few a moment ago, but there's more. Another one is the first bullet point, legal compliance. You want to make sure you're following the law. Very straightforward. If you go more green supply chain, you're definitely going to have more of a focus on environment and focus on ensuring you're following the environmental laws that are out there, and other things too that go along with legal compliance. You have a better chance of providing better quality of your product. Now, it's not to say if you have a regular supply chain kind of traditional mindset, you're not going to provide quality, but in this, you're going to look for more environmentally friendly products or raw materials and find a way to be way more efficient to provide sustainable, good quality products. And we all know that the better your quality, the better you're going to have a chance for higher demand, better brand reputation, and more returning customers. You're consistent with environmental and sustainable goals. So if your company has overall sustainable and environmental goals, supply chain should be right into that. And in fact, a key core element and department of the company to help foresee and achieve those goals. You improve your company reputation, like I talked about. Customers are more savvy now. Customers are looking for more environmentally friendly products, looking for more sustainability out there. They understand the importance of it as a consumer, so they're going to definitely do more business and have a better affinity with companies, and companies will have a higher reputation because of it. And the competitive advantages too, efficient production. Who doesn't want to produce more but smarter? Okay, so it's all about working smarter, not harder. Cleaner technologies. So if you focus on green supply chain, you're taking care of your environment by having better, cleaner technologies. Streamlined processes, which are become more efficient, more sustainable business measures. And waste reduction, which we'll talk more about momentarily. And then the economic side of that. If you do work smarter, are optimizing your technology to focus on greener technology, and if you are focused on the environment and doing things more legally compliant, you're going to reduce waste, which is time, material, wasted efforts, technology. You're going to decrease your costs and your fines because you're going to be more legally compliant, perhaps find ways to be more sustainable in your shipping methods, and you have better chance of negotiating with your suppliers because you're focused on those relationships. So all those cost impacts impact the bottom line, which is your profitability. So 3 types of green supply chain practices. 1, technology optimization, like I talked about. You want to focus, where can I invest in technology to streamline my operations? Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone of an older, archaic system and to find newer technology that's going to increase your level of insights and reporting for better production, to help you streamline your operations, and ultimately it's going to impact the overall environment because you're spending less time on manual paperwork and more hard materials than technology to take that soft benefit away from focusing on raw materials or things that. Another key aspect of technology is you want to make sure that when you're looking at technology providers, do they have the benefit of ensuring they have a mutual success for long-term sustainability in mind with you? And that their technology is going to be something that is long-term for your business. Can you provide the technology? Can you get the technology they can provide you for ongoing support with increased demand, not just the business you have here and now? Because sustainability is all about long-term decision making. So you want to find technology and optimize it that's going to be, the next 2, 3, 5 years out versus just the here and now to be competitive. So look for that technology that's going to help you with your increased demand, but also with your potential, new product lines that you need to also support with production, that kind of thing. The other thing with optimizing technology, perhaps you're in a technology that needs to be in the manufacturing plant that uses certain technology to implement and create your products. Well, there's ways to find energy efficient and environmentally friendly technologies out there to support those kinds of machineries and other things out there that create your product. That also helps the environmental impact if you can find those green technologies. So that's key, especially in the manufacturing piece. So find those technologies and you're in a already key lane for green supply chain management. The next one on the top right there, you see reverse logistics. Reverse logistics is taking end-of-life product. Think about, as a consumer, you have to return something from time to time. Or, companies have overstocked inventory and they don't know what to do with it, right? Because they didn't sell enough of their supply. They're reusing that product, by the way. That's reverse logistics. Either they resell it as a refurbished product. Sometimes you buy refurbished products. That's what it is. You take the materials from that older product to build that new product line. Let's take furniture, for example. Perhaps there's a series of furniture that didn't sell very well. And so they take the pieces apart and they reconfigure it into a new kind of setup for a new type of furniture or new design. That's what that is. It's reusing, basically recycle those good old-fashioned things we've learned as kids, but it's doing it in a very aggregated sense and consolidated sense to be able to reduce the amount of new raw material, because you're impacting the environment by reusing material you already have. And it's more cost efficient because you've already paid for it once. You may have to pay to remanufacture it, right? Renew it, if you will, but you're paying less money because you're not paying for brand new raw material. So use that material to the best of your benefit. Waste management. Waste management goes to waste reduction, waste control, and waste prevention. Waste is all about, like I said, maybe you're wasting raw material because you're just producing, but you're not, finding a way to effectively use renewable material. Or you're wasting time, okay, by using technology that's outdated. So you're more sustainable if you find new technology to streamline your operations. There's all kinds of waste that take place. Waste, and all that, at the end of the day, if you're wasting time and effort, is cost. So you want to not waste costs. Later in the course, we'll talk about lean management, and a lot of that's on waste reduction. So those are 3 key areas of green supply chain management practices. And then there are more in the class, which we'll talk more about as well. But those are 3 key ones. So now that we've defined green supply chain management and talked about its benefits, its impact on global market is really all about finding commonality between other countries and other businesses globally to implement, environmentally and sustainable practices and even products to those expanded markets. So by doing that, you're focusing on your international trade, which can benefit your country because you can find ways to better, find good trade agreements and all those kinds of things because you have common goals and purposes. You expand your market, okay? And you also find a way, build a stronger network of a supplier base or resources that can help you with your mutual goals of sustainability. It increases that competitive advantage as you go expand globally because you have common goals. But remember, you've got to work through those localized laws on the environment and processes to ensure good global expansion. So that wraps up week 1. Thank you so much for your time. We will explore more of these topics. See you in week 2.